Hello, my name is Paul, and I'll be taking you through the success point on Market Invest FX 2.0. If you are just joining us for the first time, I would advise that you contact us so that we can get you started on the introduction to binary option, as well as give you this PowerPoint presentation that will prepare your mind for what Market Invest FX 2.0 is all about. So basically, we've gone through this PowerPoint presentation before now, and what we just want to talk about are the quick key points that you need to start trading. So I will scroll and move over to slide number 23, and I will take you through what you need to know. Basically, there are rules to trading binary options to profitability. And this set of 9 instructions right here is everything you need to know about trading to profitability. Now, the rules of trading to profitability include: the first one is determine and draw your major support and major resistance on a particular time frame. Like I said, if you don't know what support and resistance lines are, then you need to refer back to the previous notes as well as this PowerPoint slide. So if you need a copy, you can just message us at marketinvestfx@gmail.com, or go to our website at www.marketinvestfx.com. Alright, so back to the training. It says the first rule says determine and draw your major support and resistance on a particular time frame, say 5 minutes. So how do you draw your major support and your major resistance line? The first thing you need to do is log on to your binary options website and log on to your account. For this presentation, I will be making use of IQ. So here we are. You enter into your URL www.iqoption. Once you enter your email and your password, you'll be directed to your login page. Now here is your login page, and for those who are not conversant with the IQ option trading platform, you're always given a practice amount of money to start. Let's say they give you $10,000, and you can also make your deposit through various deposit means. From previous videos we've talked about this, so I wouldn't go to them now. So basically, when you log on to your website, this is what you see. You see the markets in a line chart. We've also spoken about different types of charts before now. We've talked about the candlesticks, the buy charts, as the major types of charts that you encounter. So basically, once you log on to your trading account, this is all you see. So what do? The first thing you have to note, okay, before you even draw your support and resistance, is what has to do with your trading psychology. Do not trade when the market is below 90%. Now we can trade this market because the profitability here is on 95, so it will be a very good starting point. So having said that, what do? I would want to close all these charts and just leave out one. I will do all the necessary setting on one and then open other charts. You can trade as much as 5 to 6 different market combinations as you so pleases, or as you've trained yourself to like it. So what do? The first thing after checking the profitability to make sure it's above 90% is you go to your chart type and change this to candlestick. Okay, so you change your chart pattern to candlestick. Now once you have this, from the PowerPoint slide I said you select your major support and resistance line, say 5 minutes for example, but for the sake of this presentation, I would only be using the 1 minute time frame to draw my support and resistance. Now what do we have here? We have all these candlesticks representing the movement of the market for every 1 minute. So each candlesticks, as you are seeing here, represents 1 minute. They look like a candle, as you can see. Okay, so they represent 1 minute. Okay, so what do? You zoom out so that you can have an overall look of the market behavior for, let's say, over 1 hour. Okay, remember each candlestick represents 1 minute, but you can always zoom out till your chart can take it no more. You can see it says you cannot zoom out anymore with the current time frame interval selected. So once you have this, you pick on your major support and your major resistance. And how do you do that? You come here to the graphical tool and look for horizontal line. Look for the highest point reached within the zoom you just did. So I pick A as an hypothetical resistance line. Okay. So please remember, what we are drawing here is just an hypothetical support, an hypothetical resistance line. It is not yet confirmed to be a resistance line. I will still come back to what you need to do to make sure that this line is indeed a support and resistance. There are certain parameters you have to check. If it does not meet up with those parameters, then you have to scrap it and redraw another one. But technically, there is an higher chance that the highest point reached within the frame in which you are is the strong resistance point. Okay, as well as we're gonna draw another line. Okay, and the lowest point reached is at this point here, as you can see. So we'll also assume that this is your strong support line. We are only assuming, it is not confirmed. Alright, so let's give it a color so that we can differentiate between both lines. Okay, the support line is always represented with green. The resistance, like it sounds, something that resists, red, danger. Okay, so we give it color red. Okay, I will also make it thick. So what do we need to do to confirm whether or not these two lines we've drawn are support or a strong support or strong resistance line? Now note that a strong support or resistance line must have at least 4 interactions in the past that shows that they have been respected. So how do we do that? Let's start with the resistance line here. So we go back to history, and as you can see, I'm going back to history. I want to know if truly, it's been a while market has been here. Because I'm having network issues. Okay. Go again. I'm going back to history just to confirm whether or not okay, so basically, as we can see, we do not have enough information to critique whether or not this line that we've drawn is a major. Okay, let's see. Okay, we have something here. Okay, so I would like to zoom in just to confirm. Okay, so we have some respect here, as you can see at this point. We have it respecting it at this point, and we have something closer at this point. But that, as it is still not enough. So what do? You draw a pseudo resistance line to pick the strongest point so far. I could pick this point to this point, but then I just have few touches. But look at this point right here. I tend to have a lot of touches here. Okay, and then this line here is closer to this point here. So I'm picking this point now as a pseudo support, as a pseudo resistance line. I'm not saying this red line is not a strong one. As you can see, price respected it along this point, but I would only now use this to reference this. So let's still go back in history and check how the market has done. Market has slowly moved away from our line, and what do we have? Okay, so we have market getting respected here and here, market getting respected here and here as well. Okay, let's still look for more touches. We have it getting respected here. We also have it getting respected here. Okay, let's check for more. Okay, so basically we have evidence to show that this point here is actually a strong resistance point, because the market has reacted to this line in history. Guess this second line that we drew it at when we were far away. We didn't draw it at the present market condition, and it's so And it so made a kind of interaction here such that even the market respected it at this point. Remember when we drew this blue line, we drew this blue line from history. We were not here when we drew the line, and as we can see, taking this line back to history, we can see that the market respected this line. So basically, this has passed the test for being a strong resistance line, and this also has passed the test for being a minor resistance line. So right here I have two lines. One is acting as a major resistance and this other is acting as a minor resistance. Like I said, the highest point reached is temporarily assumed to be the resistance, but the only thing that can confirm it is if you go back to history to check how many touches it has. It is if it has more than 10 touches, and if there is some form of respect within that point in history, then you can assume, or you can say, yes, this point is a strong resistance point. So let us check also for the support. Let's go back to history and check for the support. So we have our touches here, we have our touches here, we have it getting respected at this point, we also have it getting respected at this point, we also have it getting respected at this point. We have similar movement here at this point. It was close but really did not touch, but it was close, which shows that also we can assume that this point right here is indeed a support point, because when price got there it bounced back up, when price got there it bounced back up, when price got almost closer it bounced back up. Let us still check history. Okay, we can see some respect around here, some respect around here as well. Let's still check. Also, we have some respect around here, we also have respect around here, we have respect around here. So we have seen, in fact, more than 8 different points in which the price got respected once it touched that line. So definitely, without any iota of doubt, this line right here, is truly and indeed a strong support line. We have the red one also being a strong resistance line. We have the blue one here also acting as a minor resistance. Now we also need to draw our minor supports. We can have more than one minor support or minor resistance during our chart, but we can only have one major resistance and one major support. Okay, so how do we draw our minor support here? We look for the closest point to the major support to draw our minor support. Okay, and how do we look for it? Okay, from basically what I can see here, I'm seeing some form of resistance around here. Okay, but let me be a little bit specific. Let me come closer to a point where we have most touches. Okay, so as we can see, I will expect movement around this point. Okay, but so we have respect here, we have respect here, we have respect here, we have reactions here as well. Let us go back to history and see if truly, okay, so as you can see, we have it here as well. Price go to this point, bounce back down, cost and bounce back down. Now you will be wondering why I'm talking about respect, and I might have said a support line, but then I'm seeing a resistance movement. Okay, for example, I said I want to draw a minor support. I got to this point, right? Support is supposed to push the price back up. If this is truly a minor support, why is it pushing it down? You might have asked that question, but the truth is this: basically, a support line is supposed to force price to go up, while a resistance is supposed to force price to go down. Truly, at every point in time, a support line becomes a resistance line if it is broken, and a resistance line becomes a support line if it is broken. Basically, what I'm saying is this: at this point, this blue line is acting as a support at this point, but when it was here, it was acting as a resistance, because when price got there, it bounced it back up. It got back here again, it bounced it back down. It got right here as well, it bounced it back down. Okay, so basically this line right here at this point right here was acting as a resistance, but when it got broken, when price came back to it, it started acting as a support, and that was where we drew this line. So basically, you want to look out for reactions along major lines. Okay, once you get those reactions, depending on where the market is, we now tell you whether or not the line will be acting as either a support or a resistance. Let me take that again. I said that a support line has a tendency to become a resistance line, and a resistance line has a tendency to become a support line. Now, looking at this green line, when we drew this green line, it was acting as what? When we drew this green line, it was acting as a what? A major support line. As you can see from here, it was acting as a major support line. But that was because initially it was a resistance, but when the resistance got broken, it started acting as a support line. So there was a resistance at this point, there was resistance at this point, a resistance at this point, a resistance at this point. When it broke it, it came down back to it, but it was not acting as what? A support. Okay, here it was forcing price to go down, right here it was forcing price to go up. So when a support line, when a resistance line gets broken, it becomes what? A support. Are you following me? And once a support line gets broken, it becomes what? A resistance. Let me see where this thing was acting as a support, so that you can have a brief understanding. Okay, look at A. It acted as a support. It acted as a support. When it came here, when it broke it, it started acting as what? As a resistance. Okay, so depending on where the market is at every point in time, these lines you are drawing will either act as a support or as a resistance, depending on where the market is. So what you want to watch out for, what you want to look out for, is where are the points where you have major reactions. And as you can see, we've carefully drawn out these lines. We've carefully drawn them out and picked major points where we have reactions. So having drawn these lines, how do you trade them? That is the next question. Because drawing this line is not sufficient enough to make you money. You have to trade to make money. Okay, so how do you now trade? So we would now go and see if we have movements around these lines to see where we can trade. Okay, we are closer to this line, but the market is not there, so we kind of have to wait till the market gets there to trade. Okay, so for the purpose of this video, I might pause this presentation and wait for the market to get closer. When the market comes close, I would resume the video and then I will trade. Okay, so before I trade, there's something I want you to note. Okay, in determining how many minutes you trade, because in binary you get to trade from 30 seconds to 1 minute to 3 minutes to 5 minutes to 6 minutes, even to 1 hour to 1 day. Okay, what you need to note is where the market will be after the expiry has been reached. So if you are setting your chart to trade for 5 minutes, if the market moves in that direction you said you should go to and close in that direction in that 5 minutes, where it gets to at that 5 minutes is what will determine whether or not you win or lose your money. Okay, so how do you determine an expiry? Basically, just the same way we've checked out these lines in history, you determine an expiry based on history. So I want to trade this point. Let's assume that the market, let's assume now that the market gets here. How do I trade this? Remember that we are trading what? That when prices get to this point, they will bounce back down. They will bounce down. So how do we do this thing? How do we know how many minutes to trade such that we'll be assured that okay, we'll be in profit? You go and check from history. So picking the closest point here to this area where the line touched it here, when the price touched it here, it came down with how many consecutive candlesticks? 1, 2, 3. This right here is sufficient enough to tell us that okay, assuming I'm using this as my reference point alone, I should be able to trade 1, 2, and 3 minute expiry. But there's a better way to note this. And what is it? There's a tool called what? Bollinger Bands. And how do you get that tool? You go to your indicator, you look for Bollinger Band, you click on Bollinger Band, you take the default setting, which is a period of 14 and deviation of 2, you apply. Now once you apply, what you're looking for is the total number of consecutive candlesticks or candlesticks that show movement in the direction that you are hoping to trade. In this case, like I said, right here, when price gets to this point, we want to what? Trade what? Put or lower or sell. We want to trade that will come down once it touches this line. So how do you do it? Looking at this place as a point of reference, it touched it here. Now you count 1, including the touch, because this touch, it was when it touched it, it came down. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can get what I'm saying. Now, when the market touched it at this point, okay, it touched it and then it came down. So we're going to count this as well, because once it touched it, it started coming down. Okay, so this is 1, 2, and 3. So basically, you are counting the number of consecutive candlesticks or candlesticks with movement in that direction till it gets to the middle Bollinger Bands. Now these are Bollinger Bands, and when you draw a Bollinger Band, it's a Bollinger Band has 3 bands: the outer band, the middle band, and the lower band. So what you're looking at is the number of consecutive candlesticks or candlesticks that moves in that direction till it gets to the middle Bollinger Band. In this case, when it touched it, we have 1, we have 2, we have 3. So using this reference point, if I'm going to trade this line, I'm going to trade for what? For 3 minutes. One good thing you can do is to set an alarm so that when price gets close to it, you can always know. So I'm using this line here to trade. So I will set an alarm to maybe somewhere here. Okay, an alarm has been set. So when price gets here, I'll be notified that, okay, young man, price is getting close. Oh, and as we can see, it's like price is getting close to that line. Okay, so I want to trade 3 minutes once it touches the line. So let's say it has touched it, so I'm trading 3-minute expiry. Okay, put. Let's see what will happen after 3 minutes. Let's see what will happen after 3 minutes. Remember, we are using this minor resistance line to determine our trade. So let's wait. Still going up. Still going up. We want to trade 3 minutes, right? Okay. Let's wait and see. So basically from history, we use just this point as a reference point, but this is not a good way to determine that. Why am I saying so? The reason is because we only use 1 point in history. Normally, we are supposed to use more than 1 point in history to determine. We're supposed to use more than 1 point in history to determine our expiry. I only use 1 point because obviously I was making this presentation when price got there. Oh, and when we have a spike on our major resistance line, let's see. Okay, I want to trade this as well. Let me just see, 1, 2, 3 as well. Trade 3 minutes. Come on. Okay. So we have 2 trades now. One is for our minor, the other is on our major. 3-minute expiry for both. Okay, so we won this trade, even though it was by a whisker, but we lost this. Okay, and basically we lost this because we were already in a trend. But look at what happened when it got to the major resistance line. There was a reaction, and after 3 minutes, the trade won. Okay, so the stronger the line, the surest the trades are. Okay, it's just a pity that we kind of lost this trade, but definitely that doesn't mean this method doesn't work. Okay, when you trade, you are not expected to win all your trades, but you're expected to win majority of your trade. And most of what determines how well you win is the strength of the line. Now you can see we just traded 3 minutes after it touched it. 1, 2, 3, and that is it. We looked at that based on history, and that was what we used in determining this trade. There's a higher chance that this is a trend and it will continue going, but what we want to do is make use of the window we have to trade, and that is what we have done here. There are other methods to trade this method, and I would be showing you guys in a different video. But back to what I was saying, you want to look at history to determine the expiry you set. So I did 3 minutes here because 3 minutes was all it took from this thing to get to the middle. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and that was what I traded. So basically, as I was saying, the market has really moved away from our line, but as you can see, this trade won, and even when it still got here, it respected it a little bit, which shows that this really is a strong resistance line basically. So you want to make sure that you have enough reference points in the past to determine your expiry for the trade. In this case, how do we determine the expiry for the support? If we want to trade support, this support line right here, how do we determine the number of expiry we should set? So I come here and say, okay, let me zoom in along these lines and see. Okay, so the first one is at this point. Even though it's not touching, let's just use that to as part of what we use to calculate the number of expiry we have. I tell you that you either look for consecutive candlesticks or number of candlesticks that it took to get what to the middle Bollinger Bands. In this case we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is it, 4. All right, let's check again from history to see. So it touched the line, so we count it with it 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. The other one was 4. So if we had set it for 4 minutes, would we have won? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We would have also won. So for now, 3 and 4 is good to go. Let's still check. At this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, but remember that the first one we had 3, we had 4. In this case, we can't have 6. We can only have 4, because when you count this 1 and you count this 2, this red here is almost the same distance as this one, so they cancel each other out. Okay, so we have 1, we have 2, we have 3. This one is also as small as we have this one. No real movement. Are you following? No real movement to say we are going in the downward direction. So just as we've counted 1, 2, we have this 3. This one won't be counted because the movement was no more. So we have 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 here. We have 4 and we have 3 in the past. So we have 3 and 4 from the past. Let's see again. We can't use this because in this case it has been broken. We're only looking at instances where it is acting as support if it's coming from top. Okay, let's check history again. Let's see. Acting as support. Acting as a support. I have to zoom out. Acting as support. Okay, we have one here. So let's see. In fact, we have 2 in this case. So let's assume we touch it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Touch it here. We start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have about 4 different situations where we've counted 4, and just one situation where we've counted 3. So it's good to say we are trading 4 minutes on this as what? As a support. So in the future, if price gets to this line and we want to trade reversals, Like you want to trade it to go up, we trade what? We trade 4 minutes. So basically this is how you do it. Okay, as you can see, price is still opening around this point. Now there are certain things I also want you to note when trading support and resistance. It is always good that whenever you are trading, you are mindful of the time prices repeats itself. What do I mean by time prices repeats itself? For example, we had a market reaction at this point. Okay, and now we might want to say, okay, let us trade this point. Please always give allowance for 20 minutes in between before you trade another point. So as we've traded at this point right now, when price gets here, we won't trade because it is not up to 20 minutes. If you are counting based on 1 minute, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It is not safe to trade. Okay, now price left at this point. I want to trade here. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's still not safe to trade because you are not sure whether the market is just coming to test or if truly the direction the market is about to move will be sustained. So you have to give allowance for some time in between to trade. You can use this point for your reference while drawing your support and resistance, but when it comes to trading, please always give allowance for at least 20 minutes before you retrade when price comes to test another region. Okay, so going back to our pipe representation, the first thing is what? To determine and draw your major support and major resistance on a particular time frame. For the sake of this, I drew what? I used 1 minute. So determine and draw the minus 1 too. Yes, I determine and I drew the minus 1, but unfortunately the minor ones that I drew for this presentation did not hold. That does not mean it doesn't work. It also works most of the time, but like I said, the best result is always gotten at the major ones. The minor ones can also help you at times to make money. Okay, now do not trade if the market profitability is less than what? 90%. Remember that when I was trading, I traded at what? 95%. I would not trade in less than 90. As you can see, the market is good today. Most of the market is on 90% for trades that are from 1 minute to below 5 minutes. In fact, most of today's market is on 90 and above. So this is one of the best times to trade. If the market is on 75% or below 90%, please do not trade. Not because you won't win, but because of psychology. I mean, in a case where you lose a trade, you would always have to work on winning multiple trades before you can come to profitability. It takes much time, okay, to make up for your losses if the market is low. That's what I'm trying to say. So please trade when the market is on 90 and above. The market is playing around this region, so it's best advised to leave the market and let it move far away. Then you draw your other support and resistance line. So what else do we have to note? You had the default setting for the Bollinger Bands. Like I told you, it's always good to use this to know how many candlesticks to trade because you are counting the reversals to the middle Bollinger Bands. Okay, add default awesome oscillators. Now the default awesome oscillator, I will still come back to it, but there is one good thing to use the awesome oscillator to do when you want to trade using the awesome oscillator. This is it right here. Let me delete and re-add. Awesome oscillator, popular awesome oscillators. Awesome oscillator is used to let you know when the trend is about to begin, so you can take trades from those trends. I'm observing a new support and resistance around this region because you can see when price got here, it came down. There is also a similar reaction around here. It is still not confirmed whether it is. We need to have at least more than 4 touches. So if you want to pick a line, let's say this line, you wanna bring it here. Okay, you see the wick is touching the body. You can go back and check in history how it wants, but I won't be doing that here. So basically I was talking about awesome oscillators. Awesome oscillator is used to determine when the trend is about to begin. Now the awesome will tell you, like in this case, when price got here, we saw that it made a movement in the upward direction about a trend starting. So this awesome will only let you fine check your movement. Okay, so like at this instance we won this trade because we set for 3 candlesticks, but imagine if we wanted to trade this for a trend. Okay, immediately after we won this, and we saw that this candlestick right here, this green one, the one I drew this blue line, this vertical blue line on, once you saw that the blue line closed above it and the awesome is giving an upward direction, then you should actually look at another chance of making money by going in the upward direction. You can set a 2-minute expiry. Most of the time 2-minute expiry usually win when you have an engulfing candlestick eclipsing the correction that you have here. Once that is done, you look at your awesome. If the direction is still moving in the upward direction, you trade for 2 minutes and there you have it. You've won. Okay, so you add your awesome oscillator. Your awesome oscillator will let you know when a trend is about to begin, should in case you want to make quick profit from the market. Now, observe how price react to the lines using candlestick history. That was what I said when I was going back to history to check how the market was reacting. That was why we were able to trade 3 minutes using this one, 1, 2, 3. Movement to the Bollinger Bands. That's just what that's all about. Look at history. Look at how price has reacted to a support situation if you are trading on a support line, or look at how the market has reacted to a reaction line if you are trading reaction. Basically, that's what it's all about. Like I said, here we traded for 3 minutes, and if you say we're looking at the support, when we did the support, we looked at how many minutes? We looked at 4 minutes. Okay, so that is what that is about. Determine the buyer's interval from recent history and use that to set what? Time expiry. It's just the same thing. Look at how it reacts in the past. Use that to draw your line. Look at the buyer's interval to set your what? Your trade time expiry. Be patient and wait until price gets to your support or resistance before entering a trade position. Okay, so basically that speaks a lot about what happened here. If I wanted to trade my strong support, which was this red line when I drew it, if I had traded it at this point, I will have lost, but I waited for it to touch the line, and that's why I was able to win this trade here. So please always try and wait. Don't see waiting as waste of time. See waiting as you saving your money. See waiting as you keeping your money, so that when the price or when market gets to where you are comfortable with, you enter into it and then you end up winning. Like I said, you will not win all your trade, but please, if you follow these routes later and you practice with your demo before moving to real money, once you do that, I can guarantee you will win most of your trades. Okay, on a bad day, on a bad market day, you would have maybe just 1 loss more than win. On a good day, you have like 3 wins more than losses, and on a very good day, you have like 8 wins more than losses. Please always take your time. Now you might be wondering, how would I have to wait for market to reach here? Look, you have multiple pairs to trade. All you have to do is open all your other pairs. Look here, this is GBP AUD, this is GBP NZD, this is CAD Chef, this is Euro Odd, this is Jeff JPY. You can open as up to 6. Train yourself to work with about 6 charts. Okay, once that is done, you can always draw your support and resistance on this chart. Set alarm just the way I did. It's easy to set alarm. If this is where your support is, click on alarm. When price gets closer to it, you can set it closer to the support line. Okay, once it gets there, you will get notified. You trade. So within 1 hour, I can bet you will see at least up to 5 trading opportunities if you open multiple charts down. Okay, so please always be patient enough. Do not be in a hurry. Do not be in haste. Always stick to rule and trading plan. Close a trade if it differs the rule. Basically, what this means is, let's say from history, when I was drawing it, let's say from history says 3 minutes, and when I was entering my time, I mistakenly entered 2 or 4. Please always close it. Don't say, okay, 2 is winning, I will leave it. Please, we are trading on support and resistance. These are always sensitive points. What determines whether you win or lose might just be a single candlestick. So you want to be sure to always trade within the set time from history. If you want to trade 3 minutes, if you mistakenly entered 4 minutes, please close that trade. I'm begging you. Sell the trade, close it immediately. Okay? So if you are a minute short or if you're a minute higher, if your history does not tell you to do 2 or 3 and you do 2, you will, and and you mistakenly do to, please close the trade. So always make sure that when you make a mistake, you quickly close the chart. Always trade based on the set limits you see from history. I can't say this more than I've said it. All right, so basically this is what the rule is about. Now, in terms of money, how do you wage your money? I said it's always good to trade from 2.5%. Okay, trade for 2.5% on your account, or 5% at most. If you're trading 5%, for you to blow your account, it means you must lose 20 trades consecutively, which is not gonna happen if you are actually using this rule. Okay, you cannot lose 20. In fact, you can't lose 3 consecutive trades at most. But if it so happen that you lose 3 consecutive trades, please log out and come back another day. All right, so this will be all for now. If you have any question, you can always report or get back to me, and I would always be there to guide you and show you other things that you need to know. But please, if you don't practice this thing, don't come back to me to tell me that you are having issues. Practice first. Get acquainted, get used to this thing. I can bet you that if you use 1 week to practice your support and resistance, use 1 week to trade using your demo, I'm sure that by the time you get to your real money, you would always be okay. I have multiple accounts that I use. Like this account now, I made a withdrawal few days ago from this account. I have just $13 left, and I'm still going to use this $13 to trade. Okay, I will still use it to trade, and I'm sure that I would get some money from it as well. So please always stick to the rules, follow the 10 rules. If you don't have this PowerPoint presentation, I can show you. If you need more educational material, please, I will show you. There are also other conditions that you can also trade. It's all in this PowerPoint, and it is explanatory enough. It talks about you trading without historical candlestick. What if there is no history for you to look back to? How do you trade? That is what this is all about, and it is self-explanatory from the slide here. Okay, so please go through this PowerPoint, and if you have any question, please ask me. Please practice. There is no way you can be a good trader if you don't practice. Me that I'm talking to you, I practice a lot. Okay, and it helps me to develop. But what I will never jeopardize is knowing how to draw my support and resistance. Please, if there is anything you want to do, know how to draw those lines. Once you can draw those lines, you won't have a problem. When you finish drawing those lines, look at history to determine your expiry if you want to trade using those lines. Okay, so if you have a line and you want to trade that line as a support, look at how the market responded to that line as a support. That line also can act as a resistance. But if you want to trade that line as resistance, look at that line again, how it reacted as a resistance. Don't say because on the support it was 4 minutes and that line is not acting as a resistance and you want to trade 4 minutes, you will lose. Please always look at how either support and resistance lines always look at either how a line responded as a support or a resistance to determine your trade. Do not mistake support expiry for trade expiry on a point. Always look at history to determine what it is, and I'm sure that if you put this to practice, you would in no time be a very good trader. Please, if you have any question, you can always get back to me. I'll be there to respond to you. I believe I've been able to explain this rule in a way. Going over it again, like I said, determine and draw your major support and resistance. You can draw the -1 too. Do not trade if the market is less than 90%. Set your default Bollinger Bands to let you know how to retrace your time frame to history, to the middle Bollinger Bands. Add default awesome oscillator, that is to determine if there is a trend, if a trend is about to begin. Observe how price reacts to those lines using candlestick. Determine the bounce interval from the recent history and use that to set your trade time expiry. Be patient. Please wait until price gets to your support and resistance before entering a trend position. Stick to the rules and trading plan. Close a trade if it differs your rule. Go through this slide once again. Practice based on what I've told you, and I'm sure by the end of a week or 2 weeks trading session,